So this is this is 11.1, lesson 11.1, which is about kind of fields of study and professions, jobs, etc. And then we're going to end with 8 signs about skills and abilities related to these things and other things too, like, skiing or something. Okay, so the first sign in this list is interpreting. You want 2 F hand shapes, palms facing each other. You want your thumbs and your first finger to touch there, like that. And then you move your dominant hand back and forth. I have seen both hands move back and forth as well. So that's interpreting. History is a U, or really an H hand shape, out in front of you, bouncing a little bit with your wrist. History. Literature is finger spelled L-I-T. That's literature if you're studying lit or literature. Science, we're going to do science, biology, and chemistry. And biology and chemistry are just initialized versions of science to, sort of be more specific. So science is 10 hand shapes, not A's. Stick that thumb out a little bit. And then you're going to tip your thumbs down a little. And then as if you're pouring in, something from a beaker in a science experiment. So science. Biology is going to be the same location and movement, but a different hand shape. Biology. Same thing with chemistry. Just change the hand shape. Chemistry. For physics, you want 2 bent V hand shapes, have your palms facing you, and your knuckles are going to collide like physics does, like physics do, like physics does. Linguistics, so this is the sign for language, or initialized with L's, which we did already last semester. Languistics, language. So linguistics is related to that, only you start with L and end with S. Linguistics. Studies. Now, this is very similar to the sign for study, but this relates to a major or a field, right? Like deaf studies or African American studies or whatever. So this is the study that we learned before. Studies, like deaf studies or African American studies, is just hitting. There's contact here. Whereas in study, not so much. Studies as a field. Psychology. So 2 flat hand shapes. You want your non-dominant hand with your palm sideways, and then you tip it just a little bit so that you can see this part of your hand. Okay? So tip it a little. Then look at it. Make sure you got your hand right. All right? That's your non-dominant hand. Your dominant hand will also be a flat hand shape. And you are going to be seeing, this is what it will look like when you see it. Okay? So you're looking down at it. That's what you see. And then you're going to hit on that part of your hand for psychology. Medicine, we've learned before, but this is a field of study as well. So you want a flat hand shape on your non-dominant hand, palm facing up. The 25th birthday, what's up, hand shape here. And then touch, finger to palm, and just wiggle back and forth a little bit. So that's medicine. Math, geometry, statistics, and algebra are all related like the sciences were, where it's the same palm orientation and location and movement and everything. It's just a different hand shape. Each one of them is initialized. Math is M's. You want your palms, start with your palms facing each other and then put one on top. That's the direction. Your palms face opposite directions, okay? Then the movement is to kind of hit back and forth this way. Math. Geometry, same thing, just switch to G's, geometry. Statistics. This also can mean to fight, so context. Statistics. and A's for algebra. Law, we learned before when we learned like mother-in-law, same sign, law. Now your palms need to be facing each other, and your L should be not up like you might imagine, but sideways, just because it's easier on the wrist. Law. Politics is a P hand shape, and you do sort of a little circle dip, and end with your middle finger on your forehead. Politics. It's related to other signs like federal and government. Politics. The next sign is counseling. This is the sign for counsel, like to give counsel. It's also the sign for advise or influence. So counseling, you want an S hand shape on your non-dominant hand, palm facing down. You want that squished O hand shape we've done before. Point on your dominant hand, point your palm out away from you. Thumb goes on top of your wrist that way, okay? And then you open your hand, counsel. It can be repeated, like counseling. Like you're taking the information and spreading it out. Counseling. Sociology is S hand shapes. Start with your palms out away from you, and then go in a little circle so that your palms face you at the end. That's sociology. It's related to society or a group, similar to family, and what else have we done? Class, team, stuff like that. So sociology with an S hand shape. Architecture. So we're going to basically somewhat initialize the signs for build and then house when we sign architecture. So you're going to start with build, only we're just going to do U hand shapes. You can do build this way or build this way, it doesn't matter. But for architecture, we're going to do it this way. So U hand shapes, and it's like you're laying a brick on top of another brick, right? So build, and then with an A hand shape, trace house. All right, so architecture. Let's do that again. Architecture. All right, engineering. This is actually the sign for measure, but it also means engineering. So you want two Y hand shapes, palms down. With your dominant hand, you move back and forth. So that's engineering. Electrical is two X hand shapes, palms facing you, and then make a little just, electrical connection there. Bump, 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 bump. Okay. Electrical or electric. Mechanical is the same as the sign for machine. So if you remember, you bring two 5 hand shapes, interlock your fingers, hang them down a little bit. There's some wrist, hang there. And then you come back and forth and back and forth. So that's mechanical or machine. And I will relax my shoulders because it's not like it's like this in neutral space in front of you. The next sign is research. So you want a flat hand shape on your non-dominant hand, palm more or less sideways, maybe tipped a little bit for comfort. And then you want a 1 hand shape, and you come straight in front of you and repeat it. It used to be initialized with an R for research, so you may still see that. Research, research. So information technology, or IT, can be signed IT, or it can be signed information technology. So for information, you're going to repeat that sign a bunch of times. So information technology. So we'll do that again. So remember, inform. So you start with the squished O handshakes by your head, and then you pass out the information. When you inform someone, you give them the information. Okay, so inform. So if we're going to do information technology, repeat that a bunch of times. Information, and then technology, non-dominant hand, flat hand shape, palm sideways. 25 birthday hand shape, touches the end of your hand. Technology. So you can just do IT or information technology. Business. So business, the non-dominant hand can either be an S hand shape or a flat hand shape, doesn't really matter. And then it's like busy, but it's a bigger movement, and you're gonna have a different facial expression. If you're busy, you're gonna be or whatever. Business doesn't really have the facial grammar for business is a plain face. Okay, so if your major is business, all right, accounting is just like count, but it's repeated a bunch of times. So F hand shape on your dominant hand, flat hand shape, palm facing up on your non-dominant hand. Then you move from your palm to the edge of your fingers. Okay, so accounting. Marketing is just sell repeated. So again, that squished O hand shape, palms to you, and then flick out with your wrists repeatedly. So sell, and then marketing would be sell, 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 sell. Major, or the field that you're going into, this is also can be the sign for profession. So two flat hand shapes, palm sideways. On your non-dominant hand, it is a flat hand shape, but you're going to want to just get your thumb out of the way a little bit. And then your dominant hand is a flat hand shape, and you're going to just like walking a tightrope, going straight out, okay? And then you repeat it. So you have to have very good balance, okay? So that's major or field. A minor is just like that, only go underneath. Minor. A degree, now avoid transfer error on this. This is not, it's 25 degrees outside or it's 110 degrees outside. This is a college degree. This wouldn't be saying something like, well, to a certain degree. This is an actual, like, you graduated, you got a piece of paper degree. So you can start with F hand shapes, and it's like a classifier where you're showing a diploma rolled up, okay? Degree. You may see it initialized with D's. That's kind of going out of vogue. So do F's. So that's degree. Now the last 8 signs on this list are about skills and abilities, and I'm going to actually share my screen for this so you can see the definitions. All right, so the first way that you can sign abilities, there's a little bit of a difference when you're talking about abilities and skills. So the first one is to be well informed about a subject area. So this is 2 C hand shapes, one on top of the other, on with your thumb touching your forehead. And if you think about being well informed and so knowledgeable, like genius, think about like your brain is so big, it doesn't fit in your head anymore. That's how I always think about it. And so you can just remember that this kind of ability is like super, super, super amazingly knowledgeable. Okay. Number 2 is the sign for skill. So you want a flat hand shape, palm sideways. Then you're going to like grab your hand this way and bring it straight out with your dominant hand. Skill, skill, skill. And I'll stop the screen share so you can see me better when I give some examples. So skill. So this one is used when you're talking about to have the ability to do something, to have the training to perform a certain task well, or just to have a general skill, like you're skilled at whatever, cooking or teaching or something, right? And then number 3 is kind of like that, but it's a step up. It's kind of an unusual ability, a special talent, like extra good at something. So you want an F hand shape on your dominant hand, and you basically just hit your chin with your thumb and your forefinger. Skilled, or like excellent, like superb. All right, so let me give you some examples. Hang on. All right, so here's an example of using that number one, skilled, or sorry, knowledgeable, to be knowledgeable, like really, really knowledgeable. Here's an example of that one. Number two was that skilled, right? To have an ability, have some training in an area. All right, the last one was that exceptional, like so skilled, right? With that F hand shape. You don't have to tip over. I'm just tipping over so you can see. Okay, so here is my example for that one. Sorry. All right, let's look at the next two. All right, now we're going to look at signs for lack of knowledge. So we've just looked at skills and abilities type of idea. Now this is the opposite, not knowing anything about something or not knowing how. So number 4 here is a 0 or an O, and you just put it on your head. Like your brain is empty. You just have no knowledge of this. I don't know anything about, whatever, monkeys in Zimbabwe. I have nothing. I know nothing about that. Number 5 is not knowing how to do something. So this one we've done before in Signing Naturally in the book. It calls it Be Mind Stupid, but it means to just have no idea how to do that. So you can start with a 1 hand shape and then end this way. And again, you'll see me a little more close up when I do the examples, or you can just start with like he is, the V on your forehead, and then end up this way. So this is just having no idea. The number 4 is I don't know about the subject matter. Number 5 is I don't know how to do something. So let's look at some examples there. All right, so here are examples of having no knowledge of subject matter or what we're talking about, just having no idea about something. And then that be mind stupid, just not knowing how to do something. So you end this way. So your dominant hand is actually underneath because it's the one that moves. So, or you could do it this way. Okay, so here are the examples. Okay, here's the next example. All right, so let's look at the last 3 here. So these are signs for inabilities, incapabilities, right? So number 6 is an S hand shape, only you're open just a little bit because you got to leave room for your thumb. Your thumb goes in and then on your dominant hand, and then as you like bring it back towards yourself and open your hand. That means to be completely inept. You don't have the necessary training, you don't have the skills. You absolutely, like, I cannot speak Japanese. I do not have that skill. I'm completely inept at that. Number 7 is the sign for awkward or clumsy. You want 2, 3 hand shapes with your palms facing down out here in neutral space, and you just move one up. You alternate moving your hands up and down. Movement comes from your elbows, not your wrists like this, but from your elbows. So keep your wrists solid, like straight, right? So that's awkward or clumsy. And then the last one is just the sign for can't. It just means that you're not able to do it for some reason. Like I can't drive to the airport right now because I need to go and teach a class. It's not that I'm awkward. It's not that I don't have the necessary training to drive to the airport right now. I just can't do that right now because I have another commitment, right? So that's just the sign for can't. Can't. All right, so let's look at some examples. I've got 2 sentences using these 3 signs. All right, so the first sentence will use the first 2 of those, which on your list is numbers 6 and 7. So ready? And then the last sentence example is just for can't. All right, so all right, now those are all the signs and some examples from vocabulary for lesson 11.1.